How many of you guys know that I'm mentioned in different scriptures as far as their Messiah as well? So to protect my people, I need to bring them peace. At some point, I always knew, even in the Garden of Eden, I was going to become a dangerous man. But I also promised myself, I promised my wife, and I'll get back to Lilith in a second. We're just doing this. I was sitting down with my friend. He started talking about this new movie that's coming out about dinosaurs, and I was like, okay. He says, I think they were drowned in the flood. I said, well, the Grand Canyon was carved by water, and fossils were found on a mountain of fish. It's scientifically proven, beloveds. So I figured, if I take it to the heavenly realm, and I'm saying things that only I would know, I'm not as tired as I look, but I am perfect in all my ways. Then we started talking about Job. Behold Behemoth. His tail swings like a cedar. His bones are made of iron. So for someone's doubts, that's for you. This invasion that happens, and is happening, is going to strike right at the heart of something. It's going to expose a lot of things. It's going to put things back into order. A lot of my personalities, nobody really knew what I was doing, but I always did. And then it was a cascade of light and love and just something that nobody else could have done in a time where it needed to be done. And that's the hardest thing about being king. You have to do what needs to be done. And you might not like it a lot of times. I never liked war. It took me a long time to accept that that's what should happen. But when I saw so much misery, pain, and suffering caused by other people, it became, I could not look myself in the mirror until I made it right. And I know that evil always pretends to be good. So I developed this mistrust in people, and even David talks about it for a certain reason. But then I looked at it from the perspective of, okay, now back to Lilith, right? I always respected Lilith. I did. I still do. Because normally Lilith would, she would handle things and the level that power that she was given to handle it, then she would report back to me. And then I just wanted to curtail her for a second. Like, hey, that was kind of far. Like, she's way scarier than the devil. And then I learned to get to know her more and more and more, and she would get all kinds of happy when we were getting close again, and then I was like, but you know, at my where I'm at now, my peak, and then I'm gonna rise up some more because I told people we'll walk this out. So I looked at it from this perspective. I'm a lion and a lamb. My wife is a lioness and a lamb. And I support her in everything she does. And I promised her that I would. I'll always have faith in you, and I'll. But I also see sometimes Lilith got herself into trouble. And she was born into a human body, like, a few different times, and I've witnessed what happens if she is. She goes right to work. And I've been trying to teach her and then you add what happened with Cain, and we're getting to it right now. Look up, your redemption is now. So I'm sitting there, right? My words are a spirit. I'm taking shot after shot after shot, just lighting up these demons, right? And just a whirlwind of it to the point where, like, I'm waking up the next morning, like, and then you see the outcome of it. It's on the news, or I read a news story. Like, so many things that I had to get hardened for, to help people. A lot of times, I'm gonna keep going back to scripture. If they didn't build their house on the rock when that storm came, and then to be the righteousness of God, the righteousness of God, and have to do everything according to messianic prophecy and be the Messiah and all these rules you set up on your own life. And it was just to preserve me and keep me alive. So the biggest thing about why they say that Adam had two wives, I did not have two wives. I put her in a different vessel. I put Eve in a different vessel. And then she chose, she didn't want to be with Cain. So many people, they've wanted one thing, just a wife or a husband. It's ingrained in us to want this. And then we have little ones. And then we fight to protect our little ones. So, whatever people expected of me, you should have expected me to fight for my little ones. And then I looked at it from a battlefield perspective. If I'm walking around and there's weapons laying all across the ground, if someone's attacking me, I'm gonna pick it up and start lighting up people. But I wasn't lighting up people. So we'll get back to this in a second. Because it's gonna help you understand what happened to you even more. Lilith is one spirit. Like, it's not like multifaceted like all the other ones. They didn't come from Lilith. They came from Cain. And Cain wasn't always. Cain went back and forth too. Once upon a time, Cain was Gideon. I gave him chance after chance. I was just like, nothing's gonna happen to you, but you need to go. I mean, nobody knows what he actually did or where his bloodline came from, but I traced it back. And then when I'm praying, the Spirit just says, wait a second, you're God. What are you worried about? So getting used to the power, that takes a lot of trust. And also, I keep trying to tell people, it's, how do you want to, the recognition of the truth in the first place. How your creation works, what human nature is, all of these things. You know, a lot of times you just want the weight lifted off. A lot of times, how could you expect this of me? I went through all of that. Any preacher will tell you, if God chose you, He chose you. You did not choose me, I chose you. In proper grammar, I guess, you did not choose me, I chose you. Put that into a song and then you can use whatever words you want, but it's how it makes you feel in the spirit. And I always told people, Lilith is not what you think. Like, she is above your pay grade to understand. But me and her have always had a mutual respect for each other because she didn't like evil. She sensed it. She was quick to attack. So it makes sense that she would gravitate towards Eve. Because Eve is fearless. To allow her into Eve strengthened Eve's spirit. Because Eve was also a little headstrong. In our marriage, the first time we tried it, we were too much alike. So then I had to create something that was like, okay, here's the boundaries. Because before we had no boundaries. We were naming things. Everything was ours. And the Spirit was reminding me yesterday. The Spirit said, "You always talk about she never had a choice, but neither did you." So everything I have, I use to glorify God and help you. It's just my nature. It snowed last night. I walked outside, I was like, well, that solves that problem. And I took it step by step. What do you want me to do? So I know I was walking with people too. And I'm doing so many things so fast for you guys. You consider it a miracle. But you have to remember scripture. When I was doing miracles, the scripture says fear gripped them. And I come to the point where I decided in my heart, I'm not going to start something that I'm not going to finish. And I started looking at myself from the Israelites' perspective when I said, I'm not going to go with you because it wouldn't be pleasant. You're stiff-necked and rebellious people. Okay, I said it, all right? So, what I'm doing right now, I'm waking up people across the earth so I can stop my people from being persecuted. I said that about 3.5 years ago, stop persecuting my people. So I need to deal with that. And then I look at the Western version of Christianity is you guys are safe and you don't. And to get that taste out of my mouth of the just there was so much that I was just like, there's, and I keep telling you, it started in the Garden of Eden. So we're gonna get back to that in a second here. And I know the truth about Israel's little brother and the alliances that are happening right now. Because it goes back to scripture. I remember calling people Edomites. I remember saying, you're not this, even though you claim to be. I was born in Bethlehem. I'm from the line of Judah. This is my bloodline. Idumean. Like, I used all these terms that we have to have a historical context of to look at it and say, yes, that is the truth. So I noticed that I've given you a quiet faith. But I also face, I was born Jewish by my bloodline. And one thing that they rejected me on is they didn't understand the Netzer or the root of David. Hebrew, Galilean. From the south. And then I will remind them that they came up with a song that said Mary was a whore. Jesus was a bastard. That incensed me. That this is a tradition for them. So I mean, if we're gonna talk, let's talk real. Mary was not a whore. Mary Magdalene was not a whore. She was falsely accused. I knew it. So they ran around saying I broke the law. I chose my words very carefully, and I knew that she was falsely accused.